Little Kite's figure moved as swiftly as lightning, leaving behind a trail of afterimages in the air. Every time she strikes, she claims the life of a cultivator with her foot. The constant sound of bang bang filled the air. Between a few breaths, the crowd was kicked and smashed to the ground. The remaining leader saw the scene. He was immediately frightened. Little Kite looked at him and asked coldly, "Do you need my help?" No, I'll go down by myself," he said. He eliminated his own vital chi and fell to the ground with a bang. At least this way he can save his life. Well done. After landing, Little Kite ran excitedly over upon hearing this. Then Lu Zhou looked at the person lying on the ground and asked who the mastermind was. "I don't know," the leader hurriedly replied, lifting his head. "Where are all the hostages from Family CI? They were taken away." "By whom?" "I don't know." "Have you seen his appearance before?" "Never seen it." "Kill him." Lu Zhou turned around and shook his head. "This person cannot be interrogated." Upon hearing this, the leader hastily revealed the crucial information. I confess, please don't kill me." The entire Family CI is located at Qingyang Mountain. The master of Family CI was taken away by the employer. I truly don't know the identity of the employer. Little Kite grinned and approached with a smile upon seeing the situation. Grandpa is really amazing. With just a single scare, he confessed everything. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou calmly replied, "I didn't scare him. This is indeed a trap. The mastermind behind the scenes intentionally left the information. Even if he didn't say anything, someone would inform us." "What use is there to keep him then?" The leader's face turned pale instantly upon hearing this, looking ashen. At the same time, inside the Moonlight Palace, several female cultivators swiftly flew over from the mountain peaks above. They arrived here. "Palace Master, a flying message reports that someone is approaching CI Manor. It's an old person and a young person." Upon hearing this news, Astrid Yi and Lunelite both walked out. Have they confirmed the identities of the two individuals? They bear some resemblance to the portraits. Are you saying they're just similar, not confirmed? And how could that old guy, with his temperament, disguise himself? From what I know, the third senior brother has already been injured. Orthodox Taoist Sect has sent experts to Golden Pavilion Mountain, and Master of Sky Sword Sect Chanfeng Luo has died. There has been no new Sect Master appointed. Former Sect Master Luo Shinkong, with vengeance in mind over his deceased son, is biding his time for an opportunity. Relying solely on the fourth senior brother won't be able to stop high-level experts in the primordial spirit tribulation stage. After listening to Astrid Ye's words, Lunelite understands. This is a good opportunity to exhaust Skypath G's trump card. But what if these two are not imposters? At Astrid Ye's words, she chuckled. Wouldn't that be falling right into our trap? At that moment, a flying letter arrived with a message. The entire lakeside clan of cultivators at Qingyang Mountain has been exterminated. Except for Master CI, everyone else from the CI family at the foot of the mountain has successfully escaped. Astrid Ye's eyes lit up upon hearing this. She may have single-handedly killed the lakeside clan at the Dharma Ocean stage. It is highly likely that it was done by the youngest sister. Prepare to set off. As soon as he heard it, the somewhat dazed Lao Ba could become the evil king. Lunelite couldn't help but chuckle. Lao Ba's cultivation level is just slightly stronger than Little Kite's. He even dares to call himself the evil king. Astrid Yi sighed helplessly. It's not that Lao Ba is too weak. It's just that old guy is too strong. At the same time, unaware, Lu Zhou suddenly sneezed. After being rescued by Family CI, everyone knelt down on the ground in gratitude. After receiving the worship of more than 100 people, Lu Zhou's merit points also increased significantly. This made him feel very comfortable. After Little Kite recognized his own mother, he was excited for a while. Unfortunately, they didn't have much time to spend together because there were still people waiting to be rescued. After properly settling the family CI members, they set off on their journey once again. Haven also admired Little Kite's strength. She is probably the youngest granddaughter I have ever seen. The cultivator of Dharma Ocean Stage 8 Meridians. Within 3 years, she will definitely step into the Divine Court stage. Listening to this flattery, Little Kite showed a very disdainful attitude. Pfui. I remember you were scared to death just now. Upon hearing this, Haven's face showed a look of embarrassment. He was about to say something else when he saw Little Kite glaring at him angrily. You dare to talk back to me? If it weren't for needing you, you would be useless. Believe me, I could kick you to death with one kick. Murong hurriedly caught up with Lu Zhou's pace. The unpredictable little girl is really hard to deal with. The old gentleman is much more amiable and comfortable. But if someone were to tie them up and take them away at this time, wouldn't all previous efforts be in vain? Lu Zhou replied after listening. It's okay. The goal of these cultivators should not be family CI. Haven nodded, indicating that makes sense. If they are not seeking wealth or committing murder, then they must have other motives. But what exactly is their goal? Just as you were mentioning that, a messenger bird suddenly flew in from the sky. It's a letter from the 4th senior brother. Little Kite leaped up and caught it. This time, Lu Zhou didn't let her read it out, but waved and took it over. After he finished reading the letter, his brow furrowed slightly as he said, 5th brother, wait for me to return. Little Kite quickly responded after hearing this. Haven, who was watching from the side, had 1,000 thoughts. Speculating from the titles of these two, it should be some sect. The Great Flame is vast and boundless. It's normal to have 1 or 2 reclusive experts. Before long, several people arrived at a vast empty area surrounded by mountains on all sides. Lu Zhou carefully observed the surrounding environment and then loudly said, Come out! And the next second, a eerie laugh echoed around the mountains and forests. Then, an incredibly powerful aura suddenly soared into the sky. The person in black robe flashed a fierce look, holding Little Kite's father. Malevolent Lord Murong of Golden Pavilion Mountain probably frightened him to the core, causing him to turn around and attempt to flee. It's too late to run now. The hoarse voice of the man in black robe sent shivers down people's spines. Then he burst out astral chi, restricting his movement. Lu Zhou stared coldly at the figure in black robes, pondering silently. Judging from the fluctuations in his aura, this person is stronger than Dharma Ocean 8 Meridians. He should be a powerhouse at the Divine Court stage. But he is still not enough to make me use the Pinnacle card. Can survive the trial of Qingyong Mountain. It shows that you have some strength. But unfortunately, it is still far from enough. 2 Acupoint Meridians. Body Refining 8 Layers. Dharma Ocean 8 Meridians. It seems that this transaction is fairly reasonable. The man in black robes said a few words to himself. His tone seemed full of disdain. Little Kite's eyes lit up. She is eager to give it a try. This one should be able to withstand some hits. But she was stopped by Lu Zhou after just taking 2 steps. Release the hostage and leave. I will spare your life. Upon hearing this, the man in black raised his hand and pointed at Lu Zhou. Old man, do you know who you're talking to? Lu Zhou spoke lightly at the words. Do you dare to act so arrogantly just because you have learned a bit of the 3-yin stance of Taoism? The man in black robe was slightly stunned upon hearing this. His intuition told him that this old guy was definitely not at the level of body refining 8 layers, but had used some method to conceal his aura. He could tell that my sect is extraordinary. Who are you? Reverse breathing method, gathered at the Dantian after passing through the Laogong acupoints in both hands. This cultivating method, although easier to practice astral palm, requires at least 10 days every month. Living in excruciating pain, as if it's better to die than to live. Talking about this, Lu Zhou paused. His gaze hardened as he said, You can only live for 3 months at most. The man in the black robe was shocked beyond words after hearing this. Because there are many cultivators in the world. Everyone has their own secrets, especially the flaws in the cultivation techniques they practice. The price brought by practicing the 3-in stance is the bitter frost physique. How would this old thing know? I'll ask again. Who are you, exactly? Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou smiled faintly. You betrayed the Taoism in your early years, and only learned the 3-in stance without studying the 6-yang technique, extreme cold. If there was no balance of utmost yin, you would have already perished. Surviving up to now is already a miracle. The black-robed person looked somewhat puzzled at the mention of the 6-yang technique. What? You actually don't know about the 6-yang technique? Lu Zhou looked at him and asked in return. Upon hearing this, the man in the black robe suddenly burst into wild laughter. You old fox, how dare you spout nonsense and try to deceive me? With that, he gathered his astral chi and prepared to strike towards the direction of Lu Zhou. However, the next moment, he was stopped by a single palm from Little Kite. If you want to fight my grandpa, you'll have to ask me first. Little Kite also unleashed a sharp astral wind to push back the opponent. At this moment, the person in black robe had a look of shock on their face. Divine Court stage experts. How is it possible at such a young age? Little Kite is no longer hiding his strength. He stretched his muscles, revealing an eager-to-try appearance. Then she turned around and said, Grandpa, I want to fight him. Do as you wish. Lu Zhou no longer said more when the discussion couldn't be settled. Received approval from Shifu, she then beckoned towards the figure in the black robe. It's been a long time since encountering such a strong opponent. You have to hold on a bit longer. Murong Haven beside him was a little confused at this scene. The style is a bit odd. A young girl actually challenged a monster. As soon as Little Kite spoke, with a decisive step, he swiftly kicked towards the opponent's head. The black-robed figure, who reacted quickly, also hurriedly raised his arm to block. But upon contact, he was shaken back repeatedly by the power of Little Kite. Then she caught up and kicked again. The man in the black robe adjusted his state, and also fought with her. The sound of banging was heard non-stop. The battlefield of the two people also moved to a more open place. Seeing Murong Haven's shocked look, Lu Zhou casually said, That's just her temperament. At these words, Murong Haven smiled bitterly. Is this a temper? This is clearly a demon off the leash. He then went to check on Master Ci and found that Master Ci had just passed out and was not injured. You have such a granddaughter, old sir. Why pretend to be weak and defenseless? Oh! Lu Zhou shook his head and replied, The human heart is treacherous. We must guard against it. In response, Murong Haven respectfully bowed. The old gentleman has great insight into the ways of the world. No wonder you are confident in making a move on the family Ci. I have underestimated the old gentleman all along. I have a question, not sure if I should bring it up. Are you intentionally hiding your cultivation level? In his opinion, can such a little demon be suppressed solely by charisma and family affection? No way. Even his granddaughter is a strong divine court stage practitioner. That old gentleman in front of us is at least also a strong divine court stage practitioner. Lu Zhou glanced at him, neither admitting nor denying it. Murong Haven immediately understood a few things. The old man is indeed a hermit master. After hearing this, Lu Zhou shook his hand and said that he is not a master. Seeing this scene, Murong Haven was filled with mixed emotions. That little girl is capricious and hot-tempered. He didn't expect her grandfather to be so generous, humble, and low-key. Forgive me for adding another comment, Senior. This child has amazing talent and limitless potential. It's just a pity that she doesn't yet understand the ways of the world. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced at the battlefield in the distance. He answered himself, realizing that he had indeed been thinking recently about how to teach her about the ways of the world. But he was also well aware of Little Kite's temper and personality. Teaching her well would not be a matter of just a few days. At this point, the battle between the two was also approaching its end. Little Kite excitedly spoke up. The move you just used, blazing skyward, was pretty good. The cloaked figure lay on the ground, coughing incessantly. He waved his hand quickly. Lu Zhou showed a slight smile at the sight. It looks like they've had enough fighting. That's great. Congratulations to Mr. Family CI on being rescued. This trip is finally over. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou walked towards the location of the black-clothed person with a slight frown on his face. The situation is not over. On the contrary, the show has just begun. What do you think, Pan Zong? The black-robed man lying on the ground looked at him in surprise and doubt. How do you know my name? Lu Zhou replied calmly. Let's get back to the point. You could have lived for another 3 months. But if you want to die now, I'll grant your wish. Upon hearing this, Pan Zhong's heart skipped a beat. He quickly rolled over and stood up, watching the other person warily. He hadn't expected this girl's cultivation level to be so profound, but she still had a long way to go if she wanted to kill him. Lu Zhou glanced at him and said, The 3-yin stance needs to be combined with the 6-yang technique to achieve maximum effectiveness. You have only learned the 3-yin stance and have not grasped its essence. How come I have never heard of the 6-yang technique that you mentioned? Little Kite looked disdainful when he heard the words. What's so great about a broken 6-yang technique? My grandpa has a bunch of cultivation techniques. Pan Zhong felt a bit speechless. But at this moment, the sound of flying swords controlling the sky suddenly came from behind. Looking around, a large number of cultivators, with an imposing momentum, have already appeared in the sky. Nestled in the crowd is a bright red flying chariot. Subsequently, a silver bell-like laughter slowly emanated from inside. The youngest sister, long time no see. Watching the slowly approaching bright red flying chariot in the sky, Little Kite nervously hid behind Shifu. Lu Zhou calmly comforted. No need to be afraid. Protect your father. Little Kite nodded in response. Right. Shifu is still here. Seeing this scene. Illusion. It must all be an illusion. Only they can travel through the air. But now there are so many appearing. Masters who can travel through the air like fireflies. Does the Dharma Ocean stage really mean nothing now? In addition, there are also many masters at the Divine Court stage. Among them, there is even a flying carriage, symbolizing status. Typically, only a dominant figure with overwhelming power can possess it. The flying carriage possessed by Golden Pavilion Mountain, which was once besieged by the top 10 experts, is limited to only the top 10 masters. So what is the identity of this expert who rides the crimson flying carriage? Just as he was lost in his thoughts, a voice sounded from the flying carriage. The youngest sister is getting more and more beautiful as she grows older. Little Kite was frightened and quickly ran behind Shifu. And Pan Zhong seemed to have guessed something. He swallowed nervously. The one who can scare the bold and arrogant little girl with a strong cultivation level. The owner of the red flying chariot. I remember only that person. Little Kite looked up angrily and replied, Traitor! I am not your junior sister. Upon hearing this, Astrid chuckled. The youngest sister, you are still as naive and cute as ever. A cultivator approached Fei Nian and politely inquired, Palace Master Yi, you once mentioned that the old Malevolent Lord survived that disaster with the help of a secret medicine. So I was informed through a secret letter that the Malevolent Lord Patriarch would appear here. But only one small Malevolent Lord liked and followed the post. What does this mean? Lu Zhou was a little puzzled upon hearing that only one small Malevolent Lord had reacted. I am only a few decades younger now. My hair has turned significantly blacker, and my skin has become tighter. However, my facial features have not changed much. Is it really that difficult to recognize me? Open your eyes and take a good look, Astrid said, then gently stepped down and slowly descended. Lu Zhou at this moment also recognized her. Astrid's primordial spirit tribulation stage resentment value is 45%. She is now the renowned palace master of Moonlight Palace. It is said that all the subordinates of Moonlight Palace are female cultivators. She most hates unfaithful and heartless men. No one knows why. The answer cannot be found even in Skypath G's memories. However, there are not many female cultivators around who all take advantage of others. It reminds me of a line of poetry. Bathed in pure ripples, yet never bewitching. Lu Zhou did not rush to take action because he felt that things were not that simple. The 7th and 8th elders did not show up. Once the Pinnacle Experience card is used, it only lasts for half an hour. Righteousness must be maintained in the state of the Pinnacle Experience card. The gaze of Astrid Yi, who fell to the ground, looked towards Master Lu Zhou. You are trapped, aren't you? The surrounding Righteous Path cultivators fell silent upon hearing this. Is this the infamous, notorious patriarch, whose evil deeds have shaken the world? There seems to be some discrepancy compared to the portrait. However, this was personally identified by Astrid Yi. Meanwhile, Murong Haven on the side was even more shocked upon hearing this. I didn't expect this kind-looking old man to be the infamous Malevolent Lord Patriarch. Just kill me. They are all frauds. At this moment, Lu Zhou stood with his hands behind his back and calmly spoke. I'll give you another chance. There is still a place for you among the 9 disciples. Astrid Yi chuckled softly at the words and said, Teacher, the reason I call you teacher is out of respect. You should ask them first. The surrounding cultivators all glared angrily. Indignant and armed, you old malevolent lord. Last time at Golden Pavilion Mountain, I spared you by letting you win. It won't be so easy this time. But if there is a secret medicine to rapidly increase cultivation level in a short time, don't worry, everyone. Malevolent Lord, today is your day to die. Surrender. Lu Zhou, with a smile on his face, paid no attention to what they were saying, but continued to look at Astrid Yi speaking. I will definitely appear here. The maid immediately brought the portrait up. Astrid Yi laughed and answered, It's really hard to believe when looking at the elderly demeanor in the portrait. The once unrivaled Malevolent Lord Patriarch, who once dominated the world. Master, I said I was just guessing. Do you believe me? You are already old. You are no longer the Skypath G who once dominated the world, and this is the place I personally designed for your burial. Lu Zhou looked around. He did not see any other villain disciple. He sighed. What a pity. It seems not cost-effective to only capture one villain disciple at a time at the peak cultivation level. Facing this situation, he has no room for retreat. He lightly stroked his beard and calmly said, Astrid Yi, I am passing down to you the Azure Sea Tide Rising technique and the Ring of Affection in the hope that you can have the power to protect yourself in this treacherous cultivation world, rather than deceiving the world and destroying one's ancestors, going against me. Astrid Yi couldn't help but chuckle after hearing this. Old man, do you really think you can still be the same as before? You are already old. You are no longer the Skypath G who once dominated the world. This is the place where I designed for you to meet your end. Upon hearing this, the surrounding cultivators all began to carefully sense it. Only then did they realize that this place seems not as simple as it appears on the surface. If you dare to curse Shifu, be careful of attracting a lightning strike. Little Kite angrily retorted to Lu Zhou at this moment. Then he continued to ask, Who leaked my whereabouts to you? Was it Old 7 or Old 5? Or perhaps that incompetent Old 8? Astrid Yi slowly opened her mouth and said, There's no need to involve him. It's fine to tell you the truth. The kidnapping of family CI was all carefully planned by me. The purpose is to lure out the youngest sister and you, old man. So it was you who ordered the mission from behind. What if this old malevolent lord doesn't show up? Astrid Yi replied coldly. It's me. You have too many questions. Finish what you need to do. Take your reward that belongs to you. After Lu Zhou got the answer he wanted, he no longer said more nonsense. And he didn't mind adding a little more. Upon hearing this, the surrounding cultivators all took out their weapons, readying themselves as if facing a formidable enemy. Astrid Yi showed no fear at all. Old man, are you still going to pretend to be tough? The demonic essence elixir, when taken each time, can trigger a brief burst of vital qi. The side effect is that the cultivation level will be halved within 10 days, and it cannot be taken again. When this name was mentioned, Lu Zhou immediately recalled it. This was a secret medicine that Medicine King painstakingly refined in the past. Later, because it was too domineering and evil, it was resisted by the righteous path of the world. Over time, it disappeared. I just didn't expect them to associate it with this secret medicine. Seeing Lu Zhou remain silent, Astrid Yi became even more convinced of her own speculation. There is another piece of bad news I have to tell you. Formations have been set up all around here. Significantly weaken the vital qi energy. Even if you have the secret medicine, it's futile to forcibly take it with all your might. Alright, I've said everything. Shifu, this is the last time I'll call you Shifu while you're alive. I will ensure that everything is properly taken care of, and the Golden Pavilion Mountain after your death. By the way, the experts from the Orthodox Tao sect should have already arrived at Golden Pavilion Mountain. The third senior brother is injured. The fourth senior brother must have surrendered by now. Astrid Yi is speaking and retreating back into the crowd. Little Kite heard about the formation. She quickly asked anxiously what to do. Lu Zhou confidently said it's okay. At this moment, Wang Fugui's figure suddenly ran out from the woods. After looking at the old master family CI lying on the ground, he knelt down next to Lu Zhou with a thud. Begged, "Sir, please save Master CI. I beg you." He then suddenly pulled out a short sword from his chest. He took advantage of the moment when no one was paying attention. Suddenly, he leaped up. He stabbed straight towards Lu Zhou's back. This unexpected scene left everyone stunned on the spot. Little Kite's face showed a look of concern. He quickly spoke up to remind Murong Haven to close his mouth. He could not believe it either. Wang Fugui turned out to be a strong player on the Divine Court stage. Astrid Yi couldn't contain her excitement. They were too close. There was almost no chance of avoiding this blow. Even at the primordial spirit tribulation stage, without any preparation, it's impossible to resist the attack without getting injured. Got it. Wang Fugui is full of confidence and continues to exert effort. But the next second, he was instantly confused, because the short sword could no longer penetrate even a tiny bit. What's going on? This is an earth-grade treasure. It is coated with a deadly poison. Adding my full Divine Court stage attack, how can there be no feeling of piercing into the body? Wang Fugui was in a panic. He quickly looked up, only to see that the short sword seemed to be blocked by an invisible force, preventing it from piercing the body. At this moment, Lu Zhou had a disdainful look on his face. "I don't need to use any tricks to kill you people," he said. With that, he suddenly erupted with a powerful astral qi, forming a halo around him, and sending Wang Fugui flying. The rippling energy continued to spread and soared into the sky. Seeing this scene, the Righteous Path cultivators were shocked. "Not good! The old Malevolent Lord did it on purpose. We fell into his trap," they realized. All the Dharma Ocean stage cultivators were sent flying without any resistance. Astrid Yi widened her eyes, trembling uncontrollably. She couldn't understand why the formation was ineffective, and how the old man could still take secret medicine. Where did things go wrong? At this moment, Lu Zhou took a deep breath. The feeling of being at the peak is so satisfying, like a dam bursting with long-stored floodwaters. The momentum and energy of his cultivation level instantly reached their peak state. After experiencing this moment, he looked at Astrid Yi with icy-cold eyes, seeing through her sinister arrangement. An assassin from the Divine Court stage disguised as a steward of CI Manor, did she really think I wouldn't know? With a majestic and dominating burst of energy shooting straight into the sky, many cultivators of the righteous path were all shaken to the core. The sixth disciple Astrid Yi was struck as if by lightning, repeatedly stepping back. Over the years, she had long lost the feeling of fear. The once feared feeling is gradually resurfacing. She has even forgotten the carefully thought-out plan completely. Lu Zhou just lightly lifted his arm. The heavily wounded Wang Fugui flew uncontrollably into the air. The Imperial token is known throughout the world. How could Murong Haven not know? Wang Fugui was so scared at this moment that his whole body was trembling uncontrollably. The first time he saw Lu Zhou and Little Kite, he was not sure if these two were the malevolent lord of the Golden Pavilion Mountain. He only confirmed everything when he got the token. He also considered assassinating the other party in the middle of the night. The old man, malevolent lord of the Golden Pavilion Mountain, was even more afraid of disrupting Astrid Ye's plan. So in the end, he did not take action. "I can't kill you," said Wang Fugui in a broken voice, trying to reveal the power behind him to save his own life. Every strong individual on the Divine Court stage more or less has some backing or support. But is this important? Or rather, is there any force in this world that can make the great malevolent lord afraid? No. Lu Zhou couldn't be bothered to listen to his nonsense. He quickly ended Wang Fugui's life by closing his 5 fingers together. Defeating a Divine Court stage villain disciple earns you 200 merit points. He won't last much longer. Don't be afraid. Astrid Ye felt a sense of fear when she witnessed this scene. After leaving these words, she leaped up and jumped onto her flying carriage, then disappeared into the sky without looking back. Pan Zhong also reacted, and was scared out of his wits. He quickly begged for mercy from the possessed senior. "I was acting on someone else's orders. I never intended to oppose the senior. Please spare me, senior." He understood that in front of such a super expert, once targeted, it is almost impossible to escape. Only by begging for mercy can there be a glimmer of hope. After hearing that, Lu Zhou's gaze swept across the room. There were about 15 strong individuals at the Divine Court stage, while the remaining over 100 people were at the Dharma Ocean stage. He paused before speaking. "This seat will give you a chance. I will allow any Dharma Ocean stage cultivator to leave. This seat will bestow upon you the 6 Yang technique, life or death, you choose for yourself." After saying that, he snapped his fingers. In an instant, an auspicious light descended from the sky. The divine beast by Zhe walked on air and slowly landed in front of Lu Zhou. "Kite, take your father back to Qingyang Mountain and wait for me to return." Disciple obeys. Little Kite responded and left here in front of everyone's eyes. Pan Zhong was shocked to see this. Legendary grade mount? It is rumored that the old malevolent lord roams the world. Today, seeing him with countless precious weapons and cultivation techniques, it seems to be true. Upon thinking this through, he decisively knelt on the ground and bowed with hands clasped together. He was willing to be driven by the seniors. Lu Zhou heard this, and then lightly tapped his toes, flying into the air. The pressure all over his body immediately scattered around him. In order to resist this pressure, Divine Court stage immediately summoned its own Dharma body. The cultivator of Dharma Ocean stage fled for his life, like a dog whose home has been destroyed. The Dharma body 100 calamities abyss emerged instantly, as Lu Zhou's voice fell, a majestic and towering golden illusion as immense as a mountain. "So strong. Senior, your cultivation level is so high. There's no need to deceive me." Recalling the past. "Everyone laughs at me for being possessed by demons. Then I will be possessed by demons." Pan Zhong thought of this, and a sudden chill flashed in his eyes. He immediately launched an attack towards the nearest cultivator. The successive screams resounded in the mouth of the Dharma Ocean stage cultivator. The Divine Court stage expert flying at low altitude had no time to take care of their companions. They all had only one thought in their minds. An observant cultivator recognized Lu Zhou's move in the Celestial One Method Tai sword technique. Heaven's favor is flawed. This is extremely similar to the scene of besieging Golden Pavilion Mountain in the past. Sensing the danger, he quickly signaled for the people around him to disperse. That is a direct chopping technique. Everyone should not gather together. But the next second, with a swing of the long sword in Lu Zhou's hand, above the sky, rolling dark clouds appeared unexpectedly. They swirled and gathered together. Sword light becomes ink. The dark clouds press down on the city, the sword demon's fate. As Lu Zhou finishes gathering power, the sound of breaking through the air keeps echoing in the sky, only to see those black sword moves falling like rain. Dense and falling. No screams or resistance. These black sword rain instantly pierce through the bodies of many cultivators. At this point, they finally recognized. This is the signature move of Primordial Return Sword Art Malevolent Lord Roderick Yu. Unfortunately, it's too late now. These black sword rain not only have extremely fast speed, but also terrifying power. Even experts at the Primordial Spirit Tribulation stage would have a hard time surviving this move, let alone them. Indeed, in the face of absolute strength, any schemes and tricks will become pale and powerless. Bing! Kill 15 Divine Court stage targets. Obtain 3,000 merit points. Lu Zhou looked into the distance after taking care of these people. Great divine technique skill glint. With a swish sound, he disappeared along with his huge Dharma body. Is it another big move? Murong Haven and Pan Zhong were shocked. At this moment, the sixth disciple Astrid Yi is controlling the flying chariot to travel quickly through the air. She may not understand why this old thing is even stronger than its peak period, but the flying chariot, when flying at full speed, is almost impossible for anyone to catch up with aside from the great divine technique. Upon realizing this, she also felt much more relieved. She was not being tracked by his aura from behind. It seems that this old guy is using the 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body to deal with the others. We will meet again in the future. A smile appeared on Astrid Yi's lips. But at this moment, a burst of sound waves, buzzing suddenly echoed in the ears. Who is it? She turned her head in puzzlement, only to see a towering Dharma body walking side by side. Lu Zhou looked at her coldly, with contempt. 2 words escaped from his mouth, sinful disciple. Astrid Yi, on the other hand, widened her eyes, and stood frozen on the spot. Oh no, the old man is chasing after us. He then slowly raised his arm. The overwhelming pressure on his body suddenly burst out. In an instant, a palm that covered the sky appeared. A hint of despair filled her eyes. 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body is 10 zhang high and 2 zhang wide. Underneath, a 9-petaled golden lotus has already bloomed. How much power does the old thing demonic Tathagata Madra still retain? Ring of Affection. Astrid Yi, of course, will not just sit and wait for her fate. She immediately summoned her strongest weapon to resist. Lu Zhou understands that the other party is able to reach their current position, with the biggest reliance being this celestial rank weapon. Since I can grant you weapons, then I can also take them back. The giant palm suddenly closed slowly towards the Ring of Affection. Astrid Yi shouted at the top of her voice. Stop! The Ring of Affection is sharp all around at 360 degrees. There are 2 rings in total. Any touch will result in being cut by the sharp blades. After piercing through the vital chi of the cultivator, its power becomes even more terrifying. It must be retrieved. Because once the Ring of Affection is lost, even if one manages to escape today, their strength will greatly diminish. Astrid Yi also used her own ultimate move. With a loud shout, the Azure Sea Tide Rising technique conjured a wave made of majestic vital chi out of thin air. It surged towards the fist hanging in midair. Unfortunately, you are facing an opponent who understood this cultivation technique even better than you. Upon Lu Zhou's words, his body erupted with immense towering waves. The huge waves reversed and swept away. Compared to them, Astrid Yi's Azure Sea Tide Rising technique seemed as insignificant as a small puddle. This old thing truly gives no hope at all. Astrid Yi had no choice but to protect herself with all her might. The next moment, a giant wave carried the overbearing astral wind howling in. Under the heavy blow, she spat out blood and staggered, on the verge of falling. Then she was hit, and shot across the sky like a meteor. Lu Zhou first glanced around when he saw this. He did not perceive any other villain disciples nearby. As he expected earlier, Astrid Yi alone should not have the guts. Since there weren't any, he did not linger any longer. He immediately used the divine technique glint to chase after her. He arrived below before the opponent even landed. Then he lifted his arm expressionlessly. The vital chi energy surged out instantly. This energy instantly entwined and bound Astrid Yi's body. At this moment, her eyes were filled with fear and shock. Her breathing also started to become rapid. Betraying one's teacher and destroying one's ancestor. I will take back everything I gave you. As he pointed, a powerful vital chi surged out. What are you going to do, old thing? Her face also turned extremely pale. Realizing the danger, she was about to beg for mercy. But now there is no room for negotiation. The vital chi hit precisely on the Dantian. Dantian and Chi Si shattered. Cultivation level completely lost. This also means that she has changed from the lofty Moonlight Palace master back to an ordinary person. Astrid Yi was completely bewildered. For a cultivator, there is nothing crueler in this world than destroying their cultivation level. Initially, she was fearless and willingly endured hardships to join the Golden Pavilion Mountain in order to become stronger. It took countless efforts to achieve her current status and accomplishments. She enjoyed the worship of others and numerous accolades. Now, all of this has vanished along with the destruction of her Dantian and Chi Si. The old thing gave a bitter smile, revealing an extremely insane expression. Stubborn and unyielding. Lu Zhou instantly raised his hand and slapped her in the face. Do as you please, whether to kill or to spare. Haha, poor the third senior brother, and the fourth senior brother could have escaped unharmed. It's all your fault that caused their deaths. There will never be Golden Pavilion Mountain in this world again. Astrid Yi laughed heartily as she spoke. Lu Zhou's face showed no change upon hearing this. The peak state only lasts for 5 minutes. Even if he uses the divine technique glint, it may not be enough time. If the third and fourth elders had an accident, it means they are not in mortal danger right now. Besides, the fourth elder is not foolish. With this in mind, Astrid Yi was taken aback. The old malevolent lord didn't use to curse people like this before. The fifth senior sister mentioned that Master has become different from before. He has become unpredictable, more profound, and mysterious. As long as I am alive, no one dares to ride on the top of Golden Pavilion Mountain. Lu Zhou reached out after speaking and grabbed it, thinking the other party was going to kill him. Astrid Yi instinctively leaned back. But when she opened her eyes again, she was extremely surprised. Lu Zhou was grabbing her shoulders, and they were flying rapidly through the air. One mountain after another was passing by in front of their eyes. This is the great divine technique skill 1,000-mile chase. Why is it like this? The old guy can continuously perform the great divine technique skill without mobilizing vital chi. How does he do it? Although cultivators have a longer lifespan than ordinary people, in the last few decades, or even hundreds of years before death, their cultivation level tends to decline. Starting from body refining, the body is the key starting point for cultivators. From mystic comprehension to spirit condensation, Dharma ocean, and 8 meridians, they are all related to the body. Once the body ages, the meridians, Dantian, and Chi Si will lack vitality. It will be difficult for the cultivation level to advance further. But Skypath Chi is already so old. Why is he stronger than before? Why? She couldn't help but ask. I admit I made a mistake. But if you catch me, you won't be better off either. Zhou Lu frowned slightly at the words and said, Is that enough? He then unleashed the astral wind shield in front of the opponent, opening a part of it. The next second, the strong wind howled past like a knife. And after they left here, there were also some movements coming from the dense jungle below. The 8th disciple Great Flo Chu sat paralyzed on the ground, sweating profusely. A finely dressed man stood before him. He was none other than the 7th disciple YSC of Skypath Chi. The 7th senior brother, luckily you arrived just in time. Otherwise, I would have ended up as cannon fodder too. Upon hearing this, YSC shook his head. Old 8, You have always followed my advice. Why did you suddenly side with the sixth senior sister this time? Upon hearing this, Great Flo Chu replied with a tearful voice. Recently, I keep having dreams. I dream that Sherfu is beating me. I am scared. Let's not do that. YSC lightly waved the feather fan, rejecting the other party's request. Just keep your little stronghold. You must have seen Sherfu's Dharma body. The sixth senior sister will definitely betray me. Then I will be in trouble. Great Flo Chu said with a look of panic. YSC sighed helplessly. Astrid Yi thinks she can uncover the bottom line of Sherfu by relying on these strong divine court stage experts. It's simply wishful thinking. She doesn't even consider that if Sherfu really has no strength, why would he need her to intervene? The seventh senior brother killed 15 divine court stage experts with just a few moves. Do you know how many moves he used? No idea. You don't know either. Of course, your distinguished evil king title also doesn't know. Sigh, I can only intimidate others with the title of evil king. I dare not show off in front of senior brother. Listening to these words, YSC glanced at the other person. He regretted advising him to leave Golden Pavilion Mountain. This idiot is too much of a burden. He paused and then reminded, From now on, you must cut off all ties with Moonlight Palace. Why though? Great Flo Chu was somewhat confused. Astrid Yi led the Righteous Path cultivators to surround Sherfu and suffered a crushing defeat. Not a single person from Moonlight Palace emerged. What do you think the forces behind those cultivators would think? There is also an issue with the formation there. Previously, when Sherfu was chasing the sixth senior sister, I did a simple check and found that the array pattern was incorrect. If I guess correctly, it should be the Lunalite senior sister who withdrew from the formation at the last minute. Upon hearing this, Great Flo Chu was extremely surprised to learn that Lunalite senior sister was involved. YSC nodded and continued, stating that when Lunalite senior sister left Golden Pavilion Mountain, they obtained information that she went to Moonlight Palace with the temperament of the sixth senior sister. She is bound to win over the fifth senior sister, as Lunalite senior sister is the best candidate to activate the formation. Additionally, Pan Zhong from the Divine Court stage with pure Bright Dao cultivation level is a traitor who only mastered the 3-yin stance and the frigid body. The sixth junior sister controls this person as bait to lure out the youngest sister. Pure Bright Dao is unlikely to accept this situation. And what about Wang Fugue? Great Flo Chu asked in confusion. YSC gazed deeply into the sky. This is probably the brilliance of the sixth junior sister, isn't it? Wang Fugue's real name is Xin Yuan. He is a master under the current Great Flame Emperor Imperial Jade Concubine. The Imperial Jade Concubine is the younger sister of the Western Realm Imperial Consort, who was married to the Great Flame Emperor in those days. The Western Realm Imperial Consort died at the hands of the second senior brother. On a smaller scale, Master's actions may cause displeasure in the Great Flame Empire. On a larger scale, it could spark conflicts between the two countries. At that point, personal grievances are minor, but the welfare of the people in times of war is crucial. In addition, those 15 Divine Court stage cultivators are from the 3 sects in the southern part of the Great Flame Empire. Back then, the weapons below Earth grade of these 3 sects were all destroyed by Master Celestial rank weapons. They have not avenged this grudge all along. Now, they have made new enemies. How do you think the 3 sects will feel about it? Great Flo Chu looked incredulous after hearing it. The sixth senior sister actually has such a plan. Unfortunately, no matter how good the scheming and tricks are, they have no meaning in the face of absolute strength. Astrid Yi is probably not going to expect that Master can continuously use 1,000-mile chase. These scenes of the great divine technique have indeed subverted everyone's understanding. Moreover, Master's fighting style is extremely fast, hardly giving Astrid Yi any chance to set a clear plan. Great Flo Chu felt a chill running down his spine upon hearing these words. He decided to no longer serve as the bandit leader. Love whom to be whom. I want to go back to the countryside. I can't outplay you guys. Can't I just hide? Not long after, Lu Zhou arrived at Qingyang Mountain. At this moment, little Kite happened to fly over on Bai Zhe. Kite took a good look at her. Lu Zhou then dropped Astrid Yi and walked to the side. The effect of his pinnacle experience card disappeared. Little Kite responded with a sound, and then glared angrily at senior sister. Astrid Yi seemed to have noticed something. She chuckled. Unexpectedly, even the majestic malevolent lord can have a moment of embarrassment. Do you understand? Shifu is getting old. Can't he take a break? Little Kite retorted mercilessly. As she said this, she realized she was wrong. She quickly apologized to Shifu. Lu Zhou waved his hand and said it's okay. Even though Astrid Yi's cultivation level has been disabled, there was still a teasing tone in his voice. If I were you, I would immediately return to Golden Pavilion Mountain. Did you not say that as long as you are here, no one dares to ride on the head of Golden Pavilion Mountain? Hee hee, what a pity. Golden Pavilion Mountain will change hands today. Before Lu Zhou could speak, little Kite retorted. Nonsense. What about your cultivation level? At Astrid Yi's words, a hint of loneliness flickered in her eyes. Crippling the youngest sister is the kind of thing your respected Shifu does. He's already old. How long can he protect you? Sooner or later, he will lead you all into the abyss. Upon hearing this, little Kite made a face at her. I don't believe you, you big traitor. I should nullify your cultivation level. The youngest sister, look at his current appearance. There is no difference from an ordinary old man. She slapped him. Astrid Yi seemed to have seen through it and started to bewitch. However, little Kite directly snorted and refused. Master, I have already used Bai Zhe to send father back to Ci Manor. Let's go! Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou waved his hand and summoned Bai Zhe over. Upon seeing this scene, Astrid Yi was suddenly extremely astonished. This mount turned out to be legendary grade. When did that old thing change his mount to Bai Zhe? Before she could figure it out, Lu Zhou had already climbed onto the back of the mount and called for little Kite to join him. At the same time, the Righteous Path cultivators were scattered all over the Golden Pavilion Mountain. They are searching every corner here with weapons in hand. It's really strange. Where did Golden Pavilion Mountain and Malevolent Lord hide? We must find Skypath Ji and Shireen Ming today. In the demonic sky pavilion at the mountaintop, Elder Fang Jinshan of the Orthodox Tao sect is sitting above. Mushangduan, with a slightly furrowed brow, speaks up. As long as you tell me the whereabouts of the old Malevolent Lord, I will spare your life. Trapped Mushangduan responded indifferently. Fang Jinshan, you, from a righteous and prestigious family, take advantage of others' weaknesses. If you have the courage, release me. Let's have a fair fight of 300 rounds. Haha, daring to talk arrogantly even when injured. Do you think you are qualified? Even the old Malevolent Lord now has to hide like a rat. Mushangduan made a few sarcastic remarks after hearing that. Even your brother would have to show some respect when he sees me. The words were not finished when he was interrupted by a sudden attack. In a weakened state, he had no choice but to cross his arms and forcibly withstand the attack. What kind of thing are you? A dead dog. Speak of the whereabouts of the old Malevolent Lord and Shireen Ming. Otherwise, this day next year will be your anniversary of death. Upon hearing this, Mushangduan remained fearless. Go ahead and try your luck. Arrogant Fang Jinshan coldly snorted and was about to step forward to take action. It happened to be a good opportunity to kill Mushangduan and avenge his brother. Other fellow disciples immediately restrained him when they saw the situation. This Malevolent Lord cannot be killed. Our goal is to negotiate with the demonic sky pavilion and the old Malevolent Lord Sect Master for a peaceful resolution. Elder Fang, please think it over. Revenge is best served after long consideration. Upon hearing this, Fang Jinshan had no choice but to give up. I wonder how long you can remain so arrogant. Since the Sect Master forbids me from killing you, then I will let you experience being imprisoned beneath the ninefold abyss. You will know the feeling of being unable to live or die. At this moment, a cultivator flew in on his sword from outside the door. Seeing this, Fong Jinshan spoke up. Elder Zhou, your return is timely. Have you found out the whereabouts of Shireen Ming? Upon hearing this, Jifeng Zhou bowed respectfully and said, Second Elder, I have ordered a full search of Golden Pavilion Mountain. However, we have found nothing. No discovery at all? We personally witnessed Shireen Ming being seriously injured. I can't believe that with his injuries, he could have escaped far. Even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we must find him. I almost forgot. That old malevolent lord killed master of Sky Sword Sect, Chanfeng Luo. He was your mentor. Jifeng Zhou had no expression. Second Elder was present when answering. They won't be able to escape even with wings. Very good. Although you are from the Sky Sword Sect, you are very obedient. You are much more sensible than them. Now I command you to personally interrogate Ma Shengduan with torture. Jifeng Zhou hesitated upon hearing this. Upon seeing this scene, Fong Jinshan's tone changed. No wonder Sky Sword Sect can't tolerate a person like you, a disgrace to your family. I wonder what the Sect Master sees in you to grant you the position of Elder. He directly pushed Jifeng Zhou aside. He suddenly kicked Ma Shengduan. With a bang, Ma Shengduan couldn't help but step back a few steps after the impact. Can he still resist? A cold light flashed in Fong Jinshan's eyes. Then he mobilized vital qi to prepare to attack again. But just at this moment, a golden light arrived in an instant in midair. The cultivator on the ground looked over, and was suddenly overjoyed. The legendary Great Mount is a master cultivator. Quickly go and inform the elder that it should be a master cultivator from the righteous path. Come to support. In the next second, the cold snort of Lu Zhou resounded around. Who gave you the courage to trespass my Golden Pavilion Mountain? With a loud shout from Lu Zhou, a rumbling sound wave instantly spread across the entire mountain top. The cultivators of the righteous path below all stopped to watch. I guess the owner of this deep voice is an elderly man. But the vital qi contained in the sound wave doesn't seem like that of a master. Legendary grade mounts are rare to begin with. It carries such auspicious energy. Who could this cultivator be who can produce such a sound? Just as everyone pondered this, Ma Shengduan, who was trapped, was the first to recognize the voice of Master. He respectfully welcomed the return of Master. The righteous path cultivators were all shaken in heart and mind. Not good. The old malevolent lord has returned. Don't panic. We have insider information. He has been relying on the demonic essence elixir to sustain his array. All experts above divine court stage should gather. Lu Zhou glanced down as Astrid had said. Golden Pavilion Mountain had indeed been invaded by a group of ignorant cultivators. At this moment, a satisfied smile appeared on Astrid Ye's lips. Throughout the journey, enduring the pain of her shattered Qi Ocean Dantian, she had been unable to speak. Her only goal in persisting until now was to see how the old malevolent lord would respond to this scene. And this scene was indeed a dilemma for Lu Zhou. The first option was to use the last Pinnacle Experience card, but this was the biggest trump card. Once used, there would be no life-saving means left. The second option was to control Bai Zhe to escape from Golden Pavilion Mountain. After all, Ma Shengduan and Shireen Ming were villain disciples, so it wouldn't matter if they died. Should he use the Pinnacle Experience card or escape? He was caught in a dilemma. Release me? You have no more trump cards. Astrid Yi saw Shifu's embarrassment and spoke up. Little Kite snorted coldly after hearing this. You wish. The righteous path cultivators below have already assembled. They stared at the old man on the mount as if facing a great enemy. Lu Zhou looked towards the few people at the front. He had a look of confusion on his face. Because he found out. Jifeng Zhou's loyalty has unexpectedly increased to 15%. This is 5% higher than when he left Sky Sword Sect. Fong Jinshan, full of confidence, coldly spoke. Who do you think I am? It turns out that malevolent Lord Ma Shengduan of Golden Pavilion Mountain has already been severely injured by us. Golden Pavilion Mountain is now under our Orthodox Tao sect. Come down and face your death quickly. The cultivators behind, upon hearing this, became enraged and shouted in unison. Come down and face your death quickly. Seeing this scene, Lu Zhou furrowed his brow slightly, realizing that it was truly difficult to handle. Even saving a pinnacle experience card was impossible. So be it. Henceforth, he no longer hesitated. Suddenly, a loud bang sounded. Jifeng Zhou swiftly wielded his sword, stabbing towards Fang Jinshan ahead, who at that moment was enveloped in a translucent barrier that protected his whole body. Fang Jinshan turned his head, glaring angrily at Jifeng Zhou. How do you explain this? The blow was ineffective. Jifeng Zhou also quickly distanced himself. I didn't expect you to withstand my move. He was very confident in his own strike. At this distance, not even an expert at the primordial spirit tribulation stage might be able to resist. Fang Jinshan sneered at the words. Has no one told you? It's a world of difference. Why would the Sect Master appoint someone at the Divine Court stage? Little Kite felt an itch to do something. Master really infuriated me. A group from Divine Court stage also dares to act arrogantly. Shield of Long Heart says that it is barely considered a celestial rank treasure. Fang Jinshan was stunned upon hearing this. Do you know Shield of Long Heart? What's so special about that? When my Shifu was ruling the world, you were still playing with mud. When Skypath G's name resounded throughout the world, nobody present dared to make a sound. Lu Zhou looked around calmly before speaking. I give you all a chance to save your lives. Repair the Golden Pavilion Mountain and labor there for 3 years. Today's matter will be wiped clean. Just as the words fell, I seem to have heard the world's funniest joke. The old Malevolent Lord has turned over a new leaf and stopped killing people. Lu Zhou sighed helplessly. This seat has already given you all a chance. Then just stay here. After saying that, he then leaped down from the mount. Astrid Yi wanted to witness Shifu's embarrassed escape. The next second, she widened her eyes in disbelief. At the moment of using the pinnacle card in Lu Zhou, a mighty surge of vital chi burst forth once again. 9 Leafs 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body emerged in the blink of an eye. Like covering the sky and blocking the sun, it released an extremely powerful pressure towards Golden Pavilion Mountain. Astrid Yi stood dumbfounded on the spot. At this moment, she finally realized that her guesses had been wrong all along. Then she became so agitated that she fainted. The Righteous Path cultivator below was equally shocked. Did he go all out from the start? Ma Shengduan showed a happy expression. His excitement was evident in his words. Jifeng Zhou prostrated himself on the ground and bowed with folded hands. He shouted, The senior predecessor's power is unparalleled in the world. Lu Zhou did not hesitate to use the experience card on the day he became a Skypath G. It was destined for his choice. It was destined for him to keep walking along this path. This treacherous and dangerous cultivate world, where everyone is out to get each other, only Golden Pavilion Mountain is his foundation. Not allowing others to meddle. So he must use the last pinnacle experience card. He can only use this opportunity to warn the world. Warn those who have been eyeing the Golden Pavilion Mountain. I rely on my own strength, not on any secret recipe. Only the strength that truly belongs to oneself can erupt continuously. There is no secret recipe or external force in the world that can achieve it. Lu Zhou landed and looked down at everyone. He shouted out the name of Ma Shengduan. Upon hearing this, Ma Shengduan quickly responded. The final levels of the Celestial One method, Sword Art and Spear Art, will only be used by the Master once. Just watch closely. Lu Zhou finished speaking, and between his index finger and middle finger, a dazzling long sword formed. Ma Shengduan's face lit up at the words. This was the final public demonstration of the Celestial One method. Although he started learning sword art and spear art early, his aptitude was not as good as other disciples. Even though Master passed on the complete Celestial One method to him, He has been unable to grasp the essence of this final cultivation layer for many years. If he continues to fumble around blindly on his own, it is no different than walking in the dark. Using fingers as swords. Condense chi into rays. The target is Fong Jin-shan from Heaven's Favor is flawed. As the voice fell, Lu Zhou just made a light tap. In an instant, a sword aura formed by vital chi surged out. Fong Jin-shan was greatly shocked and quickly took out his own weapon to block. With a bang, a dazzling electric light instantly filled the center of the battlefield. The surrounding righteous path cultivators tightly closed their eyes and could not look directly at it. It is the celestial rank treasure, Shield of Long Heart. I can't see it, just guessing. Lu Zhou did not choose to strike down his opponent in one move. He swung his arm and gathered strength once again. At this moment, Fong Jin-shan, who had thought he was going to die, had a blank mind. He couldn't believe he was still alive. Using the palm as the foundation, condensing chi into a shield. 1,000 layers of overlapping waves. This is the effect of Tai art manifested in the form of a spear. It belongs to a ranged attack. Lu Zhou, after saying this, seemed to drive away thunder and control lightning. A long spear appeared in his hand. Upon seeing this scene, the expressions of the crowd immediately changed drastically. 1,000 overlapping waves. As the name suggests, it folds 1,000 streams of astral chi, appearing instantly like a spear, releasing a myriad of overlapping shadows. This is also the key ultimate move of the Celestial One method. How did you know? I don't know. Just a guess. Run quickly. It's too scary. Even the strong ones at the primordial spirit tribulation stage dare not take this blow. Realizing the danger, everyone ran for their lives as if their house had collapsed. Lu Zhou waved the long spear and pointed it towards Fong Jin-shan's position. In an instant, over 1,000 spear shadows flashed and thundered down. The nearby cultivators were affected by the residual shockwaves, all crying out miserably. Jifeng Zhou also retreated dozens of meters. Only by using astral chi to protect himself could he barely withstand it. It was impossible to tell whether Fong Jin-shan was alive or dead. After a moment, the dust that filled the sky gradually dispersed. Where Spear Shadow had fallen, only a deep abyss-like pit remained. Jifeng Zhou seemed a little confused upon seeing this. The intentions of the senior are clear, either to lash out or to guide the disciple. Only 3 minutes have passed since the end of the two moves. Lu Zhou remains composed. He calmly said, "Did you see clearly?" Upon hearing this, Ma Shangduan immediately knelt down with a thud, knocking his head heavily on the ground. The disciple sees clearly. Master personally demonstrating is better than 10 years of diligent cultivation. Very well. Lu Zhou responded with a light step under his feet and flew into the sky. He headed straight for the formation key of the Forbidden Formation on Golden Pavilion Mountain. Below, Little Kite looked up in confusion, not knowing what Master intended to do. At this moment, a group of cultivators from the righteous path dispersed like flying birds, with no one daring to stay behind. If they couldn't win, they would run. As long as everyone scattered, without 3 heads and 6 arms or the ability to split into multiple bodies, he couldn't catch them all. Sacrifice a few to achieve victory for the majority. This was the perfect strategy they had planned since they arrived. Lu Zhou snorted coldly, naturally aware of their thoughts. I've said that all of you must stay, so not a single one of you should think about leaving. After saying that, he immediately exerted force, pouring all the vital chi from his dantian and chi si into the formation key. Ma Shangduan stood dumbfounded at the sight, unable to believe it. Master is trying to repair the barrier. How could this be possible? The barrier of Golden Pavilion Mountain was perfected by generations of experts from the demonic sect. It not only absorbs a large amount of vital chi. At the same time, it is complemented by favorable timing and geographical advantages. The barrier is formed only by continuously replenishing energy. Initially, Master punished himself, the 4th junior brother, and the 5th junior sister to repair it together. It still took more than 3 years. Wanting to repair it by a single person's effort would take at least 10 years. Shifu is already old, shouldn't he be conserving his strength? But why would he do this? As massive energy poured into the formation key, the outer Golden Pavilion Mountain was suddenly covered with several layers of transparent barriers. Those fleeing cultivators were all blocked within the barrier. Jifeng also widened his eyes in shock. He couldn't believe it. When he led the team to destroy the barrier originally, he exerted all his strength but couldn't shake it at all. Never did he expect Skypath G alone could fill the barrier. It's truly terrifying. At this moment, Lu Zhou coldly stared down below. Since the Pinnacle Experience card can continuously replenish the Dantian and Qi, it won't take Fang Jinshan much time to solve the issue. Why not use the remaining resources to repair the barrier? They are endless and can be used without running out. I happen to have a perfect opportunity. Terrified, he fled as if he had lost his family. Lu Zhou then immediately activated the mountain protection formation. The blue barrier instantly enveloped everyone inside. Little Kite didn't leave a single one behind. After receiving Shifu's order, Little Kite responded with a sound and rushed out. She demonstrated the movement technique of the 7-star cloud steps to the extreme. The Dharma Ocean stage cultivators, who hadn't escaped far, were almost kicked by her. One after another, a constant sound of wailing echoed in the air. Master Mushengduan bowed respectfully with clasped hands. Lu Zhou glanced at him after listening. Surprisingly, he found that the other party's loyalty had reached 80%. His injuries should have been left over from his confrontation with Fang the ascetic of the Orthodox Tao sect. It's rare that he can hold on until now. Then Lu Zhou asked where the fourth brother was now. Upon hearing this, Mushengduan hurriedly responded. The fourth brother and Fang Jinshan and others engaged in a fierce battle for several rounds. They outnumbered us. The fourth brother was defeated, injured, and fled. Where is he now? I do not know either. Just as the words were spoken, Bai Zhe slowly descended. Then he placed the heavily wounded and unconscious Astrid Yi back in the courtyard. Upon hearing Mushengduan's words, Lu Zhou couldn't help but furrow his brow. This is not good. Third, fourth, and sixth are all injured. Only Little Kite is like a wild wolf, unleashing havoc within the barrier. Just as he was contemplating, Jifeng came forward and knelt down with a thud. I am willing to join the Golden Pavilion Mountain and serve the seniors. Lu Zhou did not refuse him after listening. He waved his arm and calmly said, Go help Little Kite. Yes, sir. Jifeng was delighted. He immediately took out his own weapon. Then he rushed towards the cultivator fleeing down the mountain. At this moment, the time for the Pinnacle Experience card has just ended. Lu Zhou's body is filled with majestic vital qi. He was very depressed after entering the secret chamber. Currently, his cultivation level is only at the spirit condensation stage. Merit point 6674. Remaining lifespan is 5,506 days. Now he needs to tidy up his thoughts and reorganize his cards. The last Pinnacle Experience card is gone. Only 7 fatal blocks are left. If encountering a powerful enemy, he can make a move tens or hundreds of times in the blink of an eye. Therefore, the significance of 7 times is not very big. What to do without the cards at the bottom? How many people are watching the first malevolent lord of the Golden Pavilion Mountain with covetous eyes? However, it's good that the barrier has been repaired. Even if a strong enemy comes again, the barrier can hold for 10 days or half a month. Using the Pinnacle card twice in a row intimidated the Righteous Path cultivators so much that even if they are stupid, they dare not invade Golden Pavilion Mountain like they did this time. More than 6,000 merit points were earned from the trip to Anyang. Merit points acquired. Next is to think about how to use them. Although it is said that continuous lottery draws can accumulate lucky value. But what if the bad luck continues all the way? Better wait. Wait until Little Kite and Jifeng clean up the remaining cultivator. Then make plans. Then Lu Zhou started to wander around the dungeon. I haven't been to the internal chamber of the demonic sky pavilion in a long time. Tai sword art, Tao heart mantra, and others. It seems that no disciple has cultivated them before based on memory. There are also some weapons, mostly mythic and yellow rank weapons. Experts at the primordial spirit tribulation stage basically look down on this level. It's covered in dust. He can't remember where they came from or how they were used. At the same time, the heavily injured Astrid Yi slowly opened her eyes and looked at the familiar buildings around her. In her mind, the scene of being newly brought into the sect emerged clearly. Everything here still felt fresh to her, every tree, every wall, every pattern. Just then, Shireen Ming's voice came from behind. Astrid Yi turned to look in the direction of the sound. Shireen Ming was seen leaning awkwardly against a tree. Not only was he disheveled with a dirty face, but there was also a bloody wound on his chest. Junior sister is back just in time. He sat on the ground and started talking, leaving Astrid Yi stunned for a moment. Is he still the infamous scaremonger, the fourth senior brother, or the Shireen Ming from Divine Court stage? A cultivate master who can be bullied even by flies. She smiled bleakly as she realized. You've met your match today. Shireen Ming waved his hand a few times in response. I'm just tired. Upon hearing this, Astrid Yi began to mock. That old man abandoned you in the mountains to die. And yet, you willingly stayed behind to risk your life. Are you crazy? You don't understand. I'm different from you. I still highly respect my teachers and value righteousness. After Shireen Ming finished speaking, he closed his eyes and fell asleep with a loud snore. Then, a magical scene appeared. Countless flowers grew rapidly on the ground around him, visible to the naked eye. Seeing this scene, Astrid Yi widened her eyes in disbelief. It turns out that all the Greenwood Hard Method senior brothers have mastered it. The Greenwood Hard Method can be cultivated to the extreme. It can bring rebirth from the brink of death and transform into a new,